It's 1:23:48 a.m., April 26, 1986. Inside Unit 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. Not once, not twice, but in a way so catastrophic, so bizarre, it rewrote nuclear history. The reactor exploded, and yet, it wasn't the fiery Hollywood version. It wasn't screaming alarms and red lights. No. The real final seconds were quieter, sharper, and infinitely more terrifying. Because here's the cruel twist. Every single safety system designed to protect the plant actually amplified the disaster. So, let's rewind the tape, frame by frame. Let's strip away the HBO spectacle and recreate what really went down. The insane test. The fatal design flaw, the doomed red button, and the two explosions that changed the world forever. Imagine this. You're testing new seatbelts by driving 120 miles an hour on black ice. That's Chernobyl's infamous turbine test. The question was fine. Can spinning turbines power emergency pumps during a blackout? But the timing was suicidal. The reactor was already unstable. It was running at low power. The crew was exhausted, 10 hours past their shifts, and worst of all, the reactor was poisoned with xenon gas, a neutron sponge that made it sluggish and unpredictable. Why? Because they had slammed Unit 4 from 100% power down to 1% in under an hour. Totally reckless. Operators begged to pause. Chief Engineer Dyatlov's response? Continue the test, and that one arrogant order sealed their fate. Here's the thing nobody outside the USSR really knew. The RBMK reactor was a monster with a hidden glitch. Inside, it was basically a skyscraper-sized pile of graphite, pierced with nearly 1,700 tubes of uranium fuel. Water flowed through, turned to steam, spun turbines. Sounds standard, right? Except for two horrifying shortcuts. One, no massive concrete dome to contain an accident. Western reactors had them. Chernobyl didn't. Two, the positive void coefficient. Translation: if the cooling water started boiling away instead of slowing down, the reactor's power actually increased. Like hitting the brakes in your car, and the car speeds up. And here's the kicker. They knew. A 1983 memo literally warned. Positive void coefficient may cause power excursion. Classified, buried, ignored. A design flaw waiting to be triggered. By 1 a.m., the operators were desperate. Xenon poisoning was suffocating the core, so they yanked out nearly all the control rods, the reactor's brakes. Out of 201 rods, only 6 were left. On paper, that's madness. In reality, it was desperation. They signed off on every step, knowing they were dancing on the edge. And still, they didn't stop. Because in the Soviet system, halting the test meant reporting failure, delaying deadlines, losing careers. So Unit 4 became a dragster engine revving without brakes, all safeties off, sitting at 200 megawatts. The test hadn't even started yet. At 01:23:40, operator Akimov hit the emergency shutdown, AZ-5, the famous red button, the one thing that should have saved them. Instead, it killed them. Here's why. The rods weren't just boron, the neutron absorber. They had graphite tips. And in the first few seconds, those tips displaced cooling water with even more graphite, actually increasing the reaction before slowing it. It was a nuclear booby trap. The power doubled, then doubled again. Every half second was another spike. The control room monitors shot upward like a rocket. Inside the core, a 1,000-ton steel lid lifted like a manhole cover. Steam pressure burst through 1,600 fuel channels. The first explosion, steam, like 100 tons of TNT ripping the reactor's top apart. The second, hydrogen, maybe even a brief nuclear detonation. That one blew the roof off, hurling radioactive debris into the sky. Witnesses didn't just see fire. They saw a blinding blue flash, Cherenkov radiation, particles moving faster than light in air, gorgeous, silent, and lethal. Here's what Hollywood gets wrong. In reality, there were no blaring sirens, just silence, confusion. Firefighters rushed in thinking it was a simple roof fire. They kicked glowing graphite chunks with their boots, not realizing each one carried lethal radiation. In the control room, the dosimeters maxed out at 3.6 Röntgen. Not great, not terrible, one officer said. For hours, nobody realized the core was gone. Soviet secrecy had left them blind. No cameras inside, no warnings outside. Just silence. Here's what matters. The explosions didn't just scatter uranium fuel. They ignited a graphite fire that raged for 9 days, spewing radioactive isotopes across Europe. The famous Bridge of Death scene? Probably a myth. Pripyat residents were evacuated before the worst fallout. And the hero narrative? Yes, Valery Legasov spoke out. But dozens of Soviet scientists fought the system behind the scenes. History remembers one name, but the truth was collective. Even so, without HBO's dramatization, would millions today be Googling RBMK reactors, xenon poisoning, or positive void coefficients? Probably not. The show bent details, but it forced a global conversation. The explosion wasn't just an accident. It was the perfect storm of arrogance, bad timing, and a reactor with a built-in suicide switch. Chernobyl's true terror isn't the glowing blue flash. It's the paperwork stamped classified, the warnings ignored, the lies buried in silence. So the next time someone says, "That could never happen here," you'll know better, because safety only exists when we admit danger. Which part of this story shook you the most? The xenon trap, the red button backfire, or the silence after the blast? Drop your thoughts below and hit subscribe for the next deep dive, where we unravel how modern reactors are designed to make sure a Chernobyl can never happen again.